I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tim Cavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the committee meetings this afternoon, June 4th, 2025. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at M.U.D headquarters, located 7350 World Communications Drive. A recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. I'd like to invite Vice President of Safety and Security, Shane Hunter, to provide a briefing regarding protocol for all individuals in attendance at the board meeting today in the event of an emergency. Shane.
Good afternoon. Shane Hunter, Vice President of Safety and Security. A normal entry and exit was through the door at the back of the room, but there's also an exit here on the right-hand side. It should be noted that on the other side of that door in that hallway is the nearest fire extinguisher and first aid kit. A little farther down the hallway on the right is the nearest AED. Well, with the location of that AED in mind, can I have a show of hands who's CPR and AED trained in the room? Thank you very much. If there would be a medical emergency in this space today, 911 will be contacted by the security guard at the front desk, who will then escort EMS personnel into this space. If we need to leave this room for any reason, we can use either door. If we need to leave this building for an evacuation reason, we go through this door here on the right, take two lefts, and end up in the parking garage for accountability. As an additional reminder, although none is expected today, the severe weather shelter is in that same hallway through this door. That concludes the that concludes the safety briefing.
Thank you. Roll call.
Begley.
Here.
Cook. Here. Friend.
Here.
Sidzik.
Here.
McGowan.
Here.
Howard. Here. Kavanaugh.
Here. This morning it is our pleasure to present, Open Meetings Act notice. I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. This morning it is our pleasure to present 3 gas protection employees with outstanding service awards for going above and beyond the call of duty. On April 23rd, a car accident occurred near the main entrance of our liquefied natural gas plant. The driver in the accident lost control and ended up hitting a power pole, splitting it from its base to the top. As a result, the live power cable was severed, swinging in the wind and arcing to the ground. This caused a fire in the dry grass under and around the vehicle with flames up to 6 feet high. LNG employees Robert Blakely, Zach Rose, and Nick Haynes were notified of the accident. Robert called 911, and Zach and Nick ran to the scene and confirmed the driver was safely out of the burning vehicle. They were able to knock down the fire with fire extinguishers until members of the Omaha Fire Department arrived and took over the scene. Zach and Nick also advised curious pedestrians to stay away from the arcing power line for their safety. The quick response from Robert, Zach, and Nick reflected the district's core principles of care and safety and security. Their actions demonstrated their commitment to our customers and the community we serve. At this time, I invite them to come forward and be recognized. On behalf of the board, our customer owners and employees, we cannot thank you enough for your outstanding service to our community and dedication to safety. Director Gwen Howard will present certificates for the group.
All right. Robert? Thank you so much. Zach? Thank you. And Nick? Thank you so much.
Anyone on the board can gather right up here for a photo with them.
All right.
Quickly. Send you, Mr. Tall Guy. Let us know for
All right, thank you again, fellas. Construction Operations, Senior Vice President, Chief Operating Officer, Kendall Miner, will review the proposed capital expenditures behind tab 5.
Good afternoon. For this month's capital expenditure letter, we have 3 items for buildings, plants, and equipment, 9 items for system improvements. I'm going to highlight 2 items for building, plants, and equipment. The first item being the top-end overhaul for $492,000. This is for all materials, labor, and equipment to perform the overhaul for these 2 1,000 horsepower natural gas-fired engines for Zone 2, 1 at Rainwood Pump Station, 1 at Skyline Pump Station. The engines are required or recommended after 20 hours or 20,000 hours, after the high pumping season to be redone and to have that overhaul completed. These are natural gas engines, like I mentioned. This work is to start in this fall and to be completed by the end of the year. So that's the first item. The second item I want to discuss is the Platte South water treatment dehumidifier replacement for $1.3 million. This was originally installed back in 2001. It has a 20 to 25-year life cycle. There are several failing components and parts to this, just making it hard to continually repair this dehumidifier for the plant. We're looking to replace it with a dry desiccant wheel dehumidifier at Platte, similar to the one at Platte West. And this has been already identified in the 2022 CIP. So looking to allocate funds now to remove, furnish, and install the new dry dehumidifier unit for Platte South. This work is projected to start the 4th quarter of this year and to be completed early spring of next year. For system improvements, I have 3 items I would like to highlight. The first one being item number 5, installing the plastic gas mains for $601,000. I mean, $601,000, excuse me. The 27th Street and Schneekloft Road to 19th Street Road and Platteview Road currently feeds through subdivisions of Pilgrim's Landing and Fairview. This is to supply the subdivisions of Hyder Hills 1 and 2. This main extension will increase the reliability and supply of gas in that area. The next item I want to discuss is item number 6, which is also installing gas mains, water mains, and relocating hydrants for $771,000. This is required to eliminate proposed grading, paving, and storm sewers at Q Street for roadway improvements. It's a Douglas County project. This work is scheduled and slated to begin June this year, and to be constructed by district crews. The last item I want to discuss today is installing gas mains and regulator stations for $1 million. This is the south side of Creek to Emile and Douglas Street. It's required to eliminate conflicts with the proposed baseball field at Creighton University. This work is reimbursable because it is a private development. It's anticipated to start in August of 2025 and constructed by district crews as well. And with that, I will conclude my overview and open the floor for any questions. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Director of Plant Engineering, Trevor Tonagis, will review acceptance of contracts and payment of final estimates behind tab 6.
Good afternoon, Trevor Tonagis, Director of Plant Engineering. For the finals letter this month, I have 6 projects that we're seeking approval for. I'll go through each of those. Item A is the 7th of 8 gas IR projects. These were 2023 projects that were then deferred to 2024. This one and the one that hopefully will final next month, possibly the following, we're just getting all the cleanup and restoration work completed, so that's why we're just now filing. This particular contract included replacement of aging cast iron gas main pipe. There was about a mile of 4-inch and a mile and a half of 2-inch pipe that was included on this one. This project went well and was successfully completed by Q3, And again, that last of the 2023 projects that was completed in 2024, we hope to be bringing to you soon. Item B is for the Florence Water Treatment Facility. This was for the header piping improvements and Basin 6 rehabilitation. This one included just a single small deductive change order in the amount of $1,383. This project was completed by Hawkins Construction, and the Florence Treatment Facility has since been returned to completely normal operations. Items C and D are water infrastructure replacement, cast iron water main replacement projects. These two projects combined added just over 1.6 miles of new HDPE pipe, ranging from 6 to 12 inches, and also included 133 new service connections. The two projects were completed by Valley Corp and K2, respectively. Again, they were completed last year, and then final restoration this year. And then the final two items, E and F, are for new developments. These were near Center Road and Skyline, and then another on the southwest corner of 144th and Chandler. Both of these projects were completed by Cedar Construction Company successfully. And that's all of them. I'll open it up if there's any questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it? Oh, okay.
And then
All right.
I can take the next item as well. This is item 7, bid tab, or tab 3, tab 7, item 3. Change order number 1 for installation of mains Southeast Bellevue. This was for phases A and C. LG Roloff is the contractor. So this is for that extension project. The change orders for an additional $219,705.95. This represents approximately 1.8% of the total contract value, which is just over $12 million for this work. There are 5 separate items included in this, with 4 of them being related to utility conflicts that were discovered during construction. And then the last item is $134,800. This was related to the need for additional dewatering efforts that, again, were encountered during construction. There was a bid item for dewatering with an allowance. It's hard to estimate exactly how much dewatering we're going to run into. And the project is being defunded by the developer with these costs included in that. So again, I'll break for any questions on that one.
Dewatering, what does that look like?
Yeah, so they set wells with pumps to pull the groundwater out. Okay. So when they're digging the trench for the new pipe, if there's water encountered, it's difficult to lay the pipe. You want a solid bedding underneath there. So they'll discharge that water, get a nice dry trench so that we can get the pipe properly bedded.
Heard a lot about groundwater in the legislature, so thank you.
Yep. Question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice President of Procurement and Enterprise Services, John Zellers, will now review the bids on materials and contracts behind tab 8.
Good afternoon. John Zellers, Vice President, Procurement and Enterprise Services. Bids on materials and contracts may be found under tab 8. There are a few items I'd like to discuss, and the first may be found at the bottom of page 1. We are requesting ratification of an agreement with Matheson Trigas to provide gas cylinders for various gas needs such as nitrogen, oxygen, and acetylene. The agreement is the outcome of a process improvement through purchasing and the internal auditor that reviewed the ordering process and accountability of gas cylinders used by multiple departments. We worked with Matheson, who is our supplier, to develop a better process, which includes monthly reporting from Matheson and internal quarterly audits of gas cylinders to improve accountability. We expect an approximate 17% price decrease with the new process and the agreement with Matheson. The next item is at the top of page 3. We received 7 bids for 6 compact 4-wheel drive pickups. The second low bid is recommended for approval as the low bidder did not bid all 6 units, and their price per pickup is higher than all other bidders. The bid from Greg Young is recommended for approval. The next several items are under the annuals heading starting on page 3. We accepted bids for malleable iron pipe, fittings, and nipples, and steel weld fittings and flanges. We separately bid items. We traditionally bid from those that meet Build America, Buy America, which are required and will be used on PHMSA-funded gas main replacement projects. The reason we chose to bid separately is that we had seen that these materials meeting Build America, Buy America are priced higher than what we traditionally receive. We received bids from 5 vendors, in which bids from 2 vendors were rejected as they did not provide pricing for all requested items. However, the lowest complete bid for each of the 2 items on the report is recommended for approval. Lastly, there are 6 water treatment chemicals in which all bidders have agreed to extend pricing and terms for another year, and we recommend we enter into those extensions. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Hey, John, on item, where is it? On the cast iron bid under annuals, why the huge difference in bidding between MRC and Central States? Twice as much for MRC.
So Central States has traditionally provided the best pricing for us, and it's just the manufacturers that they choose to go through and who those and the pricing that those manufacturers provide to those distributors.
Does that anything to do with the quality of the product?
No, no, we have specifications and we have specific requirements that need to be met.
Thank you.
John, the 1-ton cylinders of chlorine, I know we switched to that years ago from the train car size containers. Do they even ship chlorine via train rail car anymore, if you know?
They do. I'm not familiar enough with whether other water utilities actually get it by rail, but DPC, actually they were just purchased. PVS, DX. So DPC is out there off of Highway 370 and 25th Street. They receive it by rail, and then they put it into the 1-ton cylinders that we use.
I don't want to hold this up today, but when we used to buy it by the rail car, it was quite a bit cheaper because of what you just described, and we would take it right at the Florence water plant off the rail car, but because of Homeland Security and other concerns about terrorists, they stopped shipping via rail, or not stopped, either the price went up or there was something about it, and I didn't know if that was still the case or not, because this is quite a bit more than what we were paying by the rail car 2 decades ago.
Yeah, well, honestly, I can't speak on what we were paying by the rail car. I'd have to research that, but I can definitely do that. But there's a lot of regulatory requirements on shipping those type of chemicals as well by rail.
Maybe that's what it was that caused the extra expense. I didn't know. I guess regulations don't ever go away on that. I just was thinking out loud about if the price had come back down to the regulation. I mean.
So with chlorine, so DPC, I just said the wrong company again, but anyways, DPC, they are our only supplier for chlorine. And we have, over the last several years, made a lot of efforts outreaching to others. And chlorine is almost regional. And so certain manufacturer distributors have certain regions regardless of the competition through the different manufacturers. There are some that have expressed interest. They just have not come up to the table yet and bid. So DPC, the pricing is based on an index, and it's called the Argus Index. So if that index falls, then we benefit from decreased pricing. If that index increases, then we pay a higher pricing on that. And that's reviewed every 3 months with them. We sit down and we analyze it and determine the pricing. There's one other product that we do that with, and that's plastic gas pipe.
I appreciate it. I remember it was so much cheaper before we switched to the cylinders because of the cost of the transfer, and so, okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, thank you.
Thanks, John. Services and Extensions, Vice President of Engineering Masania will now review the proposed main extensions behind tab 9.
Good afternoon, Masania, Vice President of Engineering. Behind tab 9, we have one water main extension for this month. The impact of that water main extension includes water service and fire protection for 21 civic lots and 10 outlots. The extension is for the future Metropolitan Community College campus, which is located southeast of 144th and Highway 370. The campus is a 145-acre site, and the college, owned by the college, and is immediately north of the Omaha National Cemetery and south of the large Amazon fulfillment center. So if you've driven south of the interstate along Highway 44 or Highway 50 along 144th Street, if you look towards the east, recently they've been doing a lot of grading, getting prep for this site. There are also Pioneer main fees to the existing 24-inch and 16-inch mains. The developer will be paying the existing mains are located along Highway 370 as well as Highway 50, and that total is around $561,000. This development is outside of our gas service area, so there will not be a gas main extension request being brought to this board for approval. That is all I have for this month's main extension letter. Would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Personnel Vice President of Human Resources, Bonnie Savine, will now review employee wage and/or salary increases and ratifications behind tab 10.
Good afternoon. Bonnie Savine, Vice President, Human Resources. I'm going to recap some employee counts here for us. At the end of May 2024, there were 888 regular full-time employees. There were also 5 regular part-time employees. That gave us a total of 893. To end this May, we had 902 regular full-time employees and 3 regular part-time employees for a total of 905. At the end of this May, we also had 27 temporary part-time employees. That's comprised of 14 interns and 13 of our 21 summer hires had been hired by the end of May. A review of jobs actively in various stages of job placement. We have 11 jobs that have a requisition routing for approval. That covers 14 new full-time positions. We have 2 jobs posted currently. Those are both posted externally, and they are for internships at the district right now. 13 jobs are in the application review or interview stages for 19 positions, and we have 6 jobs with 14 selected candidates. They're going through the onboarding, background check, and drug screen and other screening processes right now to onboard in the next few weeks. Behind tab 10, you'll find the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications letter for this month. Human Resources is recommending the Board of Directors approve wage or salary increases for 9 employees. That's comprised of 4 OAC employees who they will receive an increase in wage due to promotion. 3 SPA positions are being given a promotion as well. 2 of those are by OAC employees that are promoting up into an SPA position. And then we have 1 SPA employee that will fill an additional promotional role. And last but not least, under Section 5, you'll see a request to ratify the salary of 2 new engineers, an Engineer 1 and an Engineer 2. Are there any questions for that letter? If not, I'm going to just go ahead and move forward to the next 2 tabs as well under Personnel. Under tab 11, you'll find the recommendation that the Board of Directors approve the selection of Stephen Dickus as Vice President, Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Dickus received his bachelor degree from the University of Notre Dame. He is also a member of the Nebraska Society of CPAs. He was hired at the district on May 22nd of 2023 as Vice President Accounting. And after a recruitment and job placement process was conducted and all candidates reviewed and vetted, the senior management team and I concur on this selection. So that is the selection portion for the Board of Directors. And in addition to that, due to the responsibilities of this position as Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, it is also recommended that the President be authorized to increase the salary of Mr. Dickus as outlined in the letter. That salary change would be effective June 16th, 2025 under district policy. Are there any questions for that letter?
Bonnie, just a quick question. Is he here in the room today?
He is.
Could he stand up for recognition?
Thank you. Congrats, Steve. You'll be hearing from him very soon, I'm sure. And then finally, behind tab 12 is a recommendation letter and supporting attachments regarding the recommendation to amend the district's 457B plan to allow for an additional investment option. And that additional option is a Roth deferral or post-tax payroll contributions. The current traditional 457B deferral, which is a pre-tax payroll contribution, will continue to be offered as well. Employees will have the option to elect all of their 457B contributions to be either traditional or Roth, or they can also do a 50-50 split of their contribution. They will be able to make this election once per year during a designated open enrollment period, and that open enrollment period for the rest of 2025 is currently happening through June 20th, so elections are being made. And additionally, the current approved district match to 457B contributions will apply to Roth contributions as well. Can I answer any questions?
Just a quick one, Bonnie. At the end of it, it says they're both cannot exceed the annual IRS limit of something. What is that limit? Do you know off the top of your head?
I will have to get that for you for this year. I do not meet the limit, so I don't remember it. Just kidding. Any other questions? I will get you that between now and the board meeting. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. J&L, Senior Claims Investigator Mike Conrad will now present the settlement of claim request behind tab 13.
Good afternoon. Mike Conrad, Senior Claims Investigator. Behind tab 13, you'll find management's recommendation for approval of a settlement in the amount of $77,188.58. This settlement is for a resolution of a property damage claim caused by a water main break that occurred on July 30th, 2023. The water main caused damage to several detached garages at approximately 116th and Davenport Streets. The settlement will compensate the owner for their cost to restore the property and will allow the law department to close this claim. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Just a personal comment. I think 2 years is a long time for people to get satisfaction on this claim. But I understand it's not necessarily our fault that negotiations are tough and they take time. I hate to see it take that long for people to be able to recover. That's all. End of preaching.
Okay, thank you.
Government Relations Attorney Rick Kubat will now review the 5th legislative report for 2025 behind tab 14.
Pretty happy to report that the legislature is adjourned. They did so on Monday, and that concludes the long session of the legislature, meaning that bills that were not indefinitely postponed or killed remain alive into next year or the subsequent session. Next year is going to be the short session. I just really want to briefly update you on 2 bills. On the second page is LB 317. As we discussed, the governor and the state wanted to merge the Nebraska Department of Natural Resources with the Department of, the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy. Those departments were in fact merged, and so now we have what is known as DWE, or the Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. That bill did pass and is signed into law. Jesse Bradley is the new director of the merged agency. The only other bill that I want to talk about, unless there's questions on the others, is the last bill, LB 580, that was introduced by Senator Michaela Cavanaugh. That was an attempt through the Appropriations Committee to secure remaining funds in what's known as the Lead Service Line Cash Fund. The state of Nebraska swept cash funds wherever they could find them to balance the budget. What was $10 million allocated for both labor training purposes for lead service line replacements and for district purposes of actually spending money on lead service line replacements. What was $10 million, they swept $4 million, meaning that there's now $6 million remaining in the fund. M.U.D is expecting to spend roughly $5 million of that lead service cash fund by June 30th of this year. And if there's not any questions, I'm going to roll right into further explanation of what's going on with the lead service line cash fund. So the next item on the agenda is seeking board approval for M.U.D to seek a loan from a financial institution to secure remaining funds in the lead service line cash fund. Last week, Steph Henn, myself, and Mark Doyle met with state officials in terms of trying to obtain a loan to secure some of the remaining funds in that lead service line cash fund. I've had conversations with the director of DWE as recently of this morning, and what we're seeking board approval to do is, with your permission, what would happen is the district would go out, secure a bank loan so that we could secure some of the remaining funds before the cash sweep occurs on July 1st. So this loan would have to occur by June 30th, with the understanding and an email from the department or the state saying that they will turn around and pay back the principal of that loan. The district would be on the hook to pay what I would say would be very short-term interest payment on such loan and whatever banker's fees are assigned for such loan. But essentially what we would do, secure funds, turn that information over with the understanding of how much that loan's going to be. The state of Nebraska would pay those loans, and then the money would sit in an account for M.U.D to draw upon. And as long as we use those funds for purposes of replacing lead service lines, that's essentially all we would have to do. So we wanted to bring that to the attention of the board. In consultation with Director McGowan, we discussed the fact before we would sign on any dotted line for any such loan, we would make sure that the board is aware of how much the loan is, what the terms of the loan is, and any details. And again, bringing this to your attention because such loan would have to be executed before July 1st, before the state of Nebraska sweeps all the remaining funds left in the lead service line cash fund. So with that, I don't have any more, but happy to answer any questions.
Rick, I'd just like to ask you to, as we go through the month of June, could we get a periodic letter from you updating us what the state has done, what we've done to secure the funds, got the loan, turned it over, got repaid, how much we spent or whatever? Just keep us updated through the month of June?
For sure. Yes, that'll be easy to do.
Rick, thank you for your efforts in Lincoln. Another year, another session of good work by you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess my final comment is this agenda item will require the board to vote to allow management to seek such a loan.
Have we ever done this kind of thing before?
No.
Okay.
And this is unique, but the statutory provision that's mentioned in the memo, there's specific statutory language that provides that we can secure a loan for purposes of paying for lead service line removals.
All right, thank you.
Rick, is this a one-time loan we'd be receiving from the state that we could access?
This specific one will be a one-time loan. It will sit in an account for the purposes of lead service line replacements, But as the board is aware, the district also has a $40 million in funds available to us under what's a program which is known as the state's Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. And for simplicity's sake, that is a program. It's $40 million that's sitting there for us to access. If we go and we take $1 million out of that fund, for simplification purposes, we would have to roughly pay back 50 cents on the dollar, or $500,000. So the DWSRF program, in all likelihood, is our long-term financing mechanism for lead service line replacements. And probably a discussion for a later day, but I do want to leave this board with the understanding, in a general sense, the whole program to replace all the lead service lines in our jurisdiction, we currently estimate at about $157 million. With the amount of state and federal funds we have available, we estimate that we're going to be able to finance roughly a third of the project, which gets us up started and up off the ground. But at some point in time, the board and management's going to have to grapple with how we're going to finance the remaining 2/3 of that project.
And it's important to make it clear, and Jim, this loan that we take out will be repaid back by the state, so we won't have a loan outstanding much beyond July 1st, correct?
That's correct. In conversations with the department, it is my current understanding, and yet the details need to be worked out. I'm hopeful that we can come to terms on what this is going to look like. We secure the loan, and my presumption is that the department, as quickly as they can, is going to pay back the principal on the loan.
Great. Now, one other thought I have is, it seems to me we have I don't know, what do you call it, a revolving fund or cash available, a line of credit, I guess, at First National Bank for $20 million that we hardly ever used. Can we use that instead of taking out a new loan?
That would be something that I would defer to. Mark Myers is lucky enough to be getting out of here pretty soon, and poor Mr. Dickus, I would defer that question and what considerations. I mean, my understanding of that line of credit is it's associated with our bond rating, and to what degree we can touch it. I would have to defer that question to the fiscal folks, but certainly a conversation that we can have going forward.
Because maybe we wouldn't have any bank fees or cheaper bank fees or whatever, and if we pay it back, I can't see where it impact our line of credit or anything, but check it out.
What we did do with the department when we first mentioned this subject was we talked to them about the idea of the gas department doing the loan for the water department to avoid interest rates and dealing with banking fees. And at that juncture, we were informed by the department that it was going to be necessary for us to go outside to a financial institution from their reading of state law.
Okay, but check out the line of credit. That might be an option. I don't know.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Insurance and pensions. Newly minted Vice President of Accounting, Steve Dickus, will present the insurance renewals found behind tab 16.
Good afternoon. Steve Dickus, Vice President of Accounting. I'll present information today related to the renewal of various third-party insurance policies. These policies are scheduled to expire on June 15th. Behind tab 16, you'll find 3 documents. First, a letter dated May 29th, describing the renewal and associated premiums and fees. Next, a schedule comparing the asset values and premiums contained in the existing policies to those reflected in the proposal. And then finally, an executive summary from Gallagher that provides a description of the efforts made to renew our coverage with various carriers. I will cover these materials today, but Tim Floro is attending virtually. Tim is our representative with Gallagher, our insurance broker, and is available to address any specific questions that you may have. Now, as stated in the letter, the proposed renewal contain a combined annual increase in premiums and fees of approximately $180,000 or 11.7%. There are a couple factors that continue to drive increasing cost of insurance for the district. One factor is the value of the district's property, which continues to go up. I would point out that the current proposal includes the value of the new LNG facility. These insurance policies cover replacement value of damaged property, and then with higher construction costs, the replacement value of our existing assets increases. Another factor that contributes to the increase in premiums are the claim activity that we've had at the district. Now, we've had 3 over the last 4 to 5 years, most recently the July 2023 Florence claim, which is now closed. I'll go ahead and highlight a few points related to each of the policies being renewed. First is the policy covering property equipment breakdown and data processing equipment. Coverage for these items is combined into a single rate quote, and this covers all risks of physical loss or damage from events such as fire, windstorm, flooding, earthquake, etc. This risk continues to be shared by 2 carriers, Aegis and Star Tech. The proposed policy includes a premium of $1,518,000 or so, representing an increase of just under $189,000 or 14.2%. I will remind the board that we raised our deductible from $100,000 to $500,000 last year, and we continue to be offered a $500,000 deductible in 2025. A good portion of this increase is caused by higher insurable values, with the remainder due to rising insurance rates due to claim activity. Assets insured under this policy are valued at over $1.4 billion. This is an increase of $104 million over last year, driven primarily by the value of the new LNG plant and by inflation on existing assets. Next is the terrorism policy. This is a standalone policy in 2025, and this covers physical loss or damage due to a terroristic act. The coverage limit for this policy is proposed at $150 million. The carrier is Lloyd's of London. Premiums for this coverage are increasing by $7,000 or 21.8%. I will point out that the expiring policy was covered as part of our property policy last year. And although that policy limit was higher, it only covered events certified by the U.S. federal government. That's rarely been declared since 9/11, and that policy was subject to a $500,000 deductible. So by stripping this coverage out into a standalone policy, we're now enjoying a $10,000 deductible, and we do no longer require the certified federal declaration to recover under this policy. Next is the construction or contractor's equipment policy. This is a standalone policy which covers owned and rented construction equipment for perils such as theft and vandalism. The limit for this coverage is $500,000 per piece of equipment. The carrier is unchanged from the prior year, and premiums for this coverage are roughly flat, decreasing by just $229 or 0.6%. And this is despite the increase in the value of the equipment itself, so we feel like this is a good deal for the district. The next policy to discuss is cyber liability insurance. We are proposing switching the coverage from the current carrier, AIG, to Lloyd's of London. We're pleased with the information we gathered from Gallagher this year. They utilized a London-based managing general agent by the name of Ambridge, which has underwriting authority for Lloyd's of London, and they were able to contain competitive pricing for this policy going forward. Finally, the auto policy. Similar to last year, Gallagher's search did not identify any carriers that were interested in providing a competitive quote. A reminder, 2 years ago, the district had a policy that provided comprehensive only coverage that just covered physical damage. The carrier at that time did not elect to renew that coverage, and at this point, we're continuing to recommend that we self-insure for auto. And we believe that our loss history and And the fact that we're distributing vehicles amongst two construction facilities going forward supports that decision. So to summarize, the results for the policies just described, the combined annual premiums and fees total $1,713,000. This represents an increase of $180,000 or 11.7% over last year. Although this is a significant increase, we do believe it's acceptable considering the market conditions, the increased value of our property, and our claim history. I will also point out that these numbers include $50,000 for annual fees to Gallagher, and this proposal is within our 2025 budget. That concludes my update. Any questions I'd be happy to address.
Steve, I have a question. On bottom of page 1 of your letter, it's the LNG and caverns. The first ones, I assume, is the actual tank and the hardware. I understand. But the second one says LNG and the caverns. And it went from $112 million to $151 million. I assume, is that because the tank capacity with the new capacity, new program went from 60,000 a day to 150,000, so we have a lot more LNG in the tank?
Yeah, and just a reminder, this is based on replacement value, so obviously we have the history of our recently constructed cost related to the new facility. The first section on this letter basically breaks down all property except LNG, and then the second section is strictly LNG and caverns. Previously, we had a 50-year-old facility at LNG, and what we did was we inflated the value of that original asset from 1975 and came up with what we assumed to be a replacement cost. And then this year, the higher value does reflect something closer to actual cost.
So is that the first part?
That's the second part, the $151.7 million. That's the entire new covered amount for the new facility.
How is that different than the one right above it where it says without LNG and cavern?
So that's all other property, excluding LNG.
Like what? At the LNG station or what?
No, the water treatment plants, everything else.
Oh, okay. So the second one is just LNG, the inventory, and the equipment?
Correct. And then the first one is water treatment plants, our HQ building, eventually the new construction center, operations center, those sorts of things.
One other question, and this may not be feasible, but the increase there for the LNG goes from $112 million to $150 million. That's related mostly to bringing it up to value, plus the increased inventory?
So that particular coverage does include the cavern itself and the building contents for that facility. But correct, the increase is mostly related to realizing that we've now got a brand new facility that's significantly more value than the old.
My question on this now is, can this increased cost be covered by the bond that we use to finance the expansion of the LNG, so we spread this over a little bit over time?
Typically, we would expense insurance premiums as part of our operating cost, but we could consider whether or not any of this could be covered by bond proceeds.
Just think about it, because we had that bond for covering the cost of the LNG expansion, so that the current ratepayers don't get stuck with it all, and we spread it over time. I don't know if you can do that with, like you said, insurance, but every year we're going to have more insurance. We're going to pay about the same insurance as we're paying this year, maybe a little increase, but that big jump, should we pass that along somehow?
We'll look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Jensen Papalil will now provide an IT project update.
You get to put up with me first. Sue Lobsiger, Senior Vice President, Chief Information Officer. As you're aware, the district recently completed the modernization of our core corporate technology solution. This was a large and complex effort with a fair amount of risk. And instead of just moving on to our next initiatives, we thought it was worthy to give you a little update on this project. It was 18 years ago when the district first implemented SAP's Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP, solution. And over 18 years, we have added new modules, new functionality. We've done upgrades. We've integrated it with many other solutions. And it is really used by nearly every department at the district, either uses it directly or is impacted by it. So 18 years ago, that was built on technology from the early 2000s, Y2K era. And in about 10 years ago, SAP announced a change, a new solution. They call it S/4HANA. We start paying attention. It was really 5 years ago that they announced a new deployment model that got our attention. We've been doing due diligence, and then, as you know, we decided that it was the right time to move to the new solution. That's where SAP is putting all their investment. We saw it as an opportunity to see improved user interface, more intuitive user interaction for our employees, increased performance of analytics, and eventually, as we do due diligence, the potential for leveraging artificial intelligence capabilities as well. So as you know, we brought that forward. You approved funding for that initiative in October of '24. We started last spring and recently completed it in May. So in a minute, I'm going to turn it over to Jensen to give you a little update on the project itself, and he wants to recognize some of our employees that went above and beyond, but no doubt he will not mention himself. So I will. Jensen is the Vice President for Information Technology. He runs the department. But for this initiative, he really acted as delivery manager and owned the project and saw every aspect of it. So I don't think anyone would challenge me in saying that his technical competence, his managerial skills, and his leadership skills just shine through. He made quick decisions so that the project could move quickly. He held our vendor providers accountable and challenged them on their deliverables. He understood the budget in and out, and he motivated and supported his team. And so my thanks to Jensen, but I also want to thank Jensen's wife. And in fact, not just the IT team, but there were employees from across the district that worked on this. Customer service came in on the weekend to do training. People were working at crazy hours all the time. So really, I know a lot of our employees, they lost weekends, they lost holidays, they lost ball games with their kids. And so my sincere appreciation to the employees, but also to their families, because I know they had to demonstrate their patience and understanding as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Jensen.
Good afternoon. Jensen Papalil, Vice President, Information Technologies. Thank you, Sue. I have a good team, so that's all about the team. Today, I would like to update you a little bit about the project's complexity and some of the positive outcomes of the project. So as Sue mentioned, SAP launched its new platform, S/4HANA, on RISE in 2021. Early 2022, after evaluating the technology's maturity, resource availability, and SAP's roadmap, we determined that it was the right time to initiate the migration process and began the preparation work in the same year. In November 2023, we issued a request for proposal and received 7 responses. We chose Cognizant Technology Solutions as our system implementation partner and started the project in April 2024. The SAP system is highly complex, and planned migration carried a significant risk. The system's availability is critical as our corporate processes heavily depend on it. It stores critical data such as financial data, customer information, and payroll data. Additionally, the system was integrated with 50 other applications, including third-party vendors. Migrating the SAP applications deployed over the last 17 years to a new system architecture and moving the data to a cloud infrastructure all at once was challenging and required intense planning and expertise. To explain the complexity of this migration, on the final migration weekend, over 80 technology professionals from half a dozen different vendors, working from 8 different countries across the globe, along with the district employees, executed over 1,000 tasks in a synchronized manner around the clock to complete the migration in one weekend. We started the migration on Friday, 4 o'clock, and completed around 9 o'clock on Sunday night. And it is a continuous process. Now, I would like to highlight some of the positive outcomes of the projects. First, the preparation work that allowed us to save on licensing and implementation cost. The comprehensive scope document and our efforts in meeting multiple vendors and customers during the preparation phase resulted in receiving more competitive proposals. The SAP security redesign and data archiving projects done as part of the preparation contributed to a reduction in both user count and system size, leading to millions of dollars in savings on SAP licensing. Additionally, this preparation work facilitated a smoother migration. Second, the significant collaboration across the district. Although this was primarily a technology upgrade, the business and technology teams worked closely together to ensure the successful migration. The business team was involved from the project's beginning, and we have identified some key users, and we call them champions, from each business area to assist with testing, training, and production support. We also selected some workstream leads from each area to ensure a timely decision-making. This collaboration enabled us to complete the project on time to a high standard. Third, the timeline. When we started the project, we estimated a duration between 9 to 15 months. Although we set an aggressive goal of completing the project in 9 months, which is Q1 of 2025, it was completed in May 2025, within our estimated timeline. Fourth, the project cost. The accounts are not finalized yet, and the invoices have not been fully paid. However, we estimate that it will be complete at around 70% of the initial multi-million-dollar estimate, well under budget. The team absorbed project management and additional technical work, resulting in reduced external resources. Despite the project's complexity, we were able to complete the job without any change orders and without using funds reserved for contingencies. Fifth, the quality. From the beginning, we prioritized quality above all else. The system migration was completed successfully without any major business disruptions. Aside from a few minor issues, which everyone agrees, the migration went really well. Although we had initially planned for a 3-week stabilization, the system was stabilized in just 1 day. It was, in fact, a resounding success, and the district technology landscape is well placed for future improvements. Finally, the team. It's all about the team. The huge success of this project was due to the commitment and dedication of the ITS team, who worked long hours, many weekends, sacrificed vacation during holiday season of 2024 and spring of 2025. Some even worked during their personal vacation days, and all with no extra pay. Their expertise, willingness to put in extra hours, and commitment to serve the business users were the key factors in successful implementation of this project. Thank you, team, for your incredible efforts. And at this time, I would like to recognize a few ITS staff members who played a crucial role in implementing this project. I have them on the side. Devendra Kumawat, if you can, raise your hands. Balaji Malaichami and Troy Losky from the infrastructure team planned and executed the task to perfection. And Anna Bennett and Morelli Konamati and Oscar Del Castillo Rodriguez, unfortunately he's not here, for going extra mile to assist the business during this migration. I would like also to acknowledge Dana Mahalingam, who is not here today, Director of Enterprise Architecture, for providing exceptional technical leadership and guidance throughout the migration process. I want to express my gratitude to all champions, workstream leads across various departments, as well as the business leaders, senior management, and the board for your unwavering support. Without your support, we wouldn't have achieved this success. Thank you. with that, if you have any questions, I'm open for answering.
Jensen, I just want to say a couple things. The issues on, when we get the reports or things on the board here to approve, they're very technical. And for me to say I fully understand them, I do not. And I put my trust into experts like you and experts like them to do what's right for the company. It's very technical, but it's very, very critical as well. And so I always trust management and you giving reports to the board of the successes and the progress of each project. And I don't understand all the details, but I understand the reports of success and progress. And I appreciate that very, very much. And I appreciate all the hard work and the long hours. And Sue, I appreciate you recognizing the family at home, because all of us have worked, you know, and yeah, they give up their weekend and holidays, but so does the family, so does the wife. And there's a lot of sacrifice, not only commitment from these employees, but commitment from the family. And so when we say thanks, we're thanking you and your families both. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the kind words. And, you know, Sue's a leader, you know, with Sue, we have everything what we need, so all the support we are receiving, so
Anyway,
they can agree to that.
yeah. I'm feeling a little emotional. It could be a late lunch, but I just love a story of commitment to a public institution. Nobody's going to get a big fat, you know, bajillion-dollar bonus check at the end of the year, and there is personal sacrifice and everybody working together and knowing that it takes a little bit more than I'm only here from 8 to 5, Monday through, whatever. That I appreciate that, so thank you.
I just want to say I've been part of these before with the county, just from an observation perspective, certainly not from any knowledge. And I know that it takes a great deal of trust, trial and error, and without the great team involved, there just is no success in this area. And I think the migration period in a weekend is just incredible. So you should all be congratulated and thank you. The ratepayers, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Are they going to?
As soon as.
Are there any members of the public in attendance today who would like to address the board? Seeing none, are there any board members that have any further comments at this time? Not at this time. We will therefore adjourn and re-adjourn the general board meeting at exactly 2:15. I would now like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tim Kavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the regular monthly board meeting this afternoon, June 4th, 2025. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at M.U.D headquarters at 7350 World Communications Drive, and a recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Roll call, please.
Begley?
Here.
Cook?
Here.
Friend?
Here.
Sidzik?
Here.
McGowan?
Here.
Howard? Here. Kavanaugh?
Here. And I want to remind everybody to silence their phones if they haven't already, please. I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. Pledge of Allegiance. And now for those who wish to participate, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes for the committee meetings and regular board meetings for May 7th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Agenda item 5, capital expenditures. Director Friend.
Thank you. This was discussed in committee. Item number 5, capital expenditures. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Kendall Minor dated May 29th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Agenda 6, acceptance of contracts, payment of final estimates. Director Friend.
Thank you. This was also discussed in committee, and I move approval as outlined in the memo from Trevor Tonagis dated May 23rd.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 7, change order 1871 Southeast Bellevue Water Main Extension. Director Friend.
Thank you. Again, also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Trevor Tonagis dated May 23rd.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 8, bids on materials and contract. Again, Director Friend.
Thank you. This was also discussed in committee, and I move approval as outlined in the memo from Sherry Lightfoot dated May 22nd.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 9, main extensions. Director Friend.
Thank you. Again, also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Masania dated May 27th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 10, wage and salary increases and ratifications. Director Begley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to make a motion for approval of the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications as discussed in committee this afternoon and outlined in Bonnie Savine's memo dated May 27, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 11, selection of Senior Vice President and CFO. Director Begley.
Thank you. I move for approval of the promotion of Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer for Stephen Dickus, as discussed in committee this afternoon, at a salary of $245,000 per year, effective June 16, 2025, as outlined in Ms. Savine's memo dated May 27, 2025.
Second.
Discussion?
I almost included as part of the motion that a request that the walk-up song for Mr. Dickus be the Notre Dame Victory March, but I stopped short of that.
In spite of that, is there more discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Agenda item 12, 457B Plan Roth Contribution Option Amendment. Director Begley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for approval of the amendment to allow for Roth 457B contributions as a Roth deferral contribution effective on July 1st, 2025, as discussed in committee this afternoon and outlined in Ms. Savine's memo. I'm sorry, Mr. Mendenhall and Ms. Savine's memo dated May 28th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion. I want to thank whoever was responsible putting this together as an option for our staff. I think it's a great thing, and I would encourage everybody to take advantage of whether it be deferred comp or the Roth contribution amendment for later on in your life. It's fantastic. It's a great option for people, and whoever's responsible putting it together, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 13, settlement of claim request. District management is requesting we approve the settlement of claim for West Haven Apartment Complex as presented in the committee meetings by Senior Claims Investigator Mike Conrad and as outlined in the memo to the committee from Senior Vice President, General Counsel Mark Mendenhall, dated May 29th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 14, fifth legislative report for 2025 be placed on file. Agenda item 15, lead service line cash fund loan. Director McGowan.
Thank you. I move to allow management to secure a loan from a financial institution to secure a portion of the remaining funds available in the state of Nebraska's lead service line cash fund for the purposes of replacing lead service lines as presented in the committee meetings by Government Relations Attorney Rick Kubat and as outlined in his letter to the committee dated June 3rd, 2025.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Item 16, insurance renewals. Director Howard.
Thank you. I've moved to approve the insurance.
You know, I can't remember that, except when I vote, which is good. I move to approve the insurance renewals as presented in the committee meetings by Vice President of Accounting, Steve Dickus, and as outlined in his letter to the committee dated May 29th, 2025. Thank
Second.
you. Thank you.
Who was the second?
Second.
Director Begley. Discussion. Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. Agenda item 17. Do any board members or management have any further comments they wish to share at this time? Seeing none, are there any members of the public present who would like to address the board? Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes. We are adjourned.
Thank you.